Gilead Sciences shares, they are surging on some very promising drug news. Let's get right now to Meg Tirrell with more on this big story. Meg.
Hi, Brian. This is breaking news from Stat News. Basically, they got a glimpse from one of the hospitals that has been enrolling patients in a clinical trial of Gilead's Remdesivir, the University of Chicago. And essentially what they saw in video communication to faculty members there is a report that on the clinical trial, it sounds like the patients, according to them, are making rapid recoveries, at least in terms of their fever and their respiratory symptoms, stat reporting nearly all patients discharged in less than a week. So this is not controlled clinical trial data. We are still waiting for that from Gilead and expect to see the first of it later this month. It is a glimpse into what one of the sites that is running this trial is seeing, and it looks pretty encouraging, guys. So we're all going to hope that we see this continue to bear out when we see the bigger data set. But it is our first glimpse into a clinical trial. And as my friends Adam Feuerstein and Matt Herper, the reporters for Stat News who broke this story, report, it looks pretty encouraging. Brian?
Well, that is some fantastic news, Meg Tirrell. Thank you very much. Gilead moving up. The SPYs, that is the ETF. That market will move after hours, even though the overall futures, remember, are not trading. Guy Adami, we have talked about this theme sort of a lot, and we'll get to Amazon in a second. I want to focus on this because, yes, there's a lot of data that comes every day, but I would argue, and see if you agree or disagree, the only data that really matters for the markets is the health data right now, or at least I would say matters the most.
Clearly, the market's concerned about that, as it should be. I mean, it's human beings. I mean, that should be, top of mind for all of us as well. So this is obviously good news. Anecdotal, I get it, but good news nonetheless. And in terms of, staying with Gilead, a name that we've been talking about now for a while, I'm looking down. I'm trying to see. I think it closed around 77, probably trading north of 83 right now. There's no reason not to stay with this stock into earnings at the end of the month. I'm not suggesting it's an earnings story. Clearly not. But, I mean, this is one that's probably going to have some tailwinds. It's had tailwinds, and obviously those tailwinds are going to continue to blow in their favor, at least for the next 10 to 14 days. So if you're asking how to trade Gilead here, you stay long the name into earnings at the end of the month, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Seymour, it's a coronavirus play. It's been a popular stock, certainly. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. This news just broke a few minutes ago, but is there any fear of everybody kind of rushing into the same names, which, by the way, we'll talk to on Amazon in a second as well?
Well, that's what we're here to do. And I think at least to point out that Biotech was rallying during a difficult period of the market going into COVID-19. The fact of the matter is, I think your best move is a basket of big cap pharma and a couple of the biotech names that have exposure, not just on COVID, but around testing, around pharma, around the fact that either way, OTC has been a major seller in a lot of the big pharma names. They're also independent of COVID, have reasonably predictable earning streams in big cap pharma, great balance sheets. We're looking for good balance sheets, and they're paying good dividends. So Merck, Sanofi, we've talked about this week. Abbott Labs on testing has been another big story. Gilead, there's your basket, and it is interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at the release here, Steve Grasso, and again, it's a fluid situation. There's an analyst out here from Leerink a couple days ago talking about will they have enough, talking about Gilead and Remdesivir, the drug, will they have enough international supplies? This is good news, but the reason I'm mentioning that is with everything we do, we need to be careful because there's a long way to go, even with the promising treatment, and there are still many questions. I hope they are solved positively. Point is, for investors, you do have to be a little careful here, do you not? All right, Guy Adami, what do you think?
No, I mean, listen, being careful is never a bad idea, especially in the environment that we find ourselves in. I've been trying to be pragmatic, for the last couple of weeks. The S&P 500 has gotten to levels that, we thought it would get to. It's probably higher now or will be higher in the aftermarket when it starts trading on the back of this news. But if you've ridden this Gilead train and you're saying, maybe it's too anecdotal and people getting ahead of their skis, here at $84, wherever the stock is trading, is obviously not a bad place to get out. You probably haven't seen Gilead here I would dare say, I don't have it in front of me, but over the 2.5, 3 years at least. So it's not a terrible idea. My way of trading it would be to continue to hold it. Not that this is an earnings story, but I would continue to hold it into their release at the end of the month. I think that's the $100 table. If you want to go downstream, you might want to do the Steve Miller thing and take the money and run, Brian.
Yeah, and if we could put up a longer-term chart, and Gilead was a $120 stock in June of 2015, been kind of flat money for a while, and it's really popped, obviously, as they work hard for this Remdesivir, and the stock is up 10% right now after hours. So there's the breaking news on Gilead.